outside.
Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio, also Steel Waves Radio, also YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google, everywhere you hear podcasts, Stitcher. It's the Dark Mark Show. I am Dark Mark, the goth comedian who doesn't look very goth these days because I haven't shaved in 2 months, and I haven't had a haircut in a while. But here I am, Dark Mark, the goth comedian, and joined by audio only because, although I'm sure she looks 100 times better than I do, she doesn't want to show it. Hannah Bach, everybody's favorite vegan heavy metal DJ.
Howdy.
Hi. And Hannah, I'm glad that you're here because last time this guy was on the show, I don't know what happened, but last minute you couldn't make it, and it was unfortunate because this guy is the Viking rocker from the land of Norway, who's coming here, and he was just about to release his first album. It's come out now. He's toured Europe. He's on his way, and then the coronavirus and the riots and everything else happened. But it's just a blip on his way to the top. It's Rocky Kramer.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing?
How you doing, Rocky?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
And the album came out. Everything's happy. There you go. I just got your email. So
Okay.
yeah, Firestorm came out in August, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things. I'm going to tell Hannah and everybody your backstory in a second, and then we're going to go what's happened since I interviewed you, probably about a year ago or close to a year ago.
I checked, and it was in May of last year.
It was pretty a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And we've actually got 2 new sponsors since then, but we also have audibletrial.com/DMS. You get a free book or 2 free books, or sorry about the sirens outside my window. That's the way things are going these days. audibletrial.com/DMS. Get 2 free audiobooks or 1 free book and 2 Audible originals and the 30-day trial to Audible. If you're on the road, if you're a rock star like Rocky, you got to pass the time. Read a book. They got all sorts of books on metal, guitar, all sorts of things. Vikings, all sorts of things. And, you know, our artists are having a tough time these days. Restaurant owners are having a worse time. I just heard one of my favorite restaurants in the Valley is closing. But what's not closing, hopefully anytime soon with your support, and I think it's opening up for dining now or in the very near future, is Doomy's Home Cooking, 1253 Vine Street, Hollywood. They've got a restaurant in Culver City. They've got one in Toronto, Canada. Hannah loves it.
Mm-hmm. And they're open 24 hours on the weekends now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you dine in now? Is that what's going on?
No, it's still pickup or Grubhub.
That's good. Well, so they got people working 24 hours. Support Doomy's Home Cooking. Support your local restaurants. Support your vegan restaurants.
Please do.
You know, these people work hard, make sure they've got, you know, they can support themselves. And also we got Hustler Hollywood, and there'll be a code on this show for 20% off Hustler Hollywood. Because, you know.
Quarantine fun.
What's that?
Quarantine fun.
Yes. And Spy Associates, there's 20% off Spy Associates if you want to spy on someone. And, yeah, it's... You're spying on somebody, Hannah?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy.
You would, though. There's a couple people I'm sure you want to know spying on you. So.
Nah, I got enough reality TV to keep me entertained.
Okay, Spy Associates. But last time, and I'm going to have a link, definitely look for our last show in the credits. Rocky has a great story. Rocky, the son of 2 classical, and if I get any part of the story wrong, please correct me.
Sure.
But the son of 2 classically trained musicians in Norway, which I've misidentified as many other countries, Finland, Sweden.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Norway.
Yeah. Netherlands.
Your father was a symphony orchestra. Your mother was a piano player. At the age of 5, they're trying to teach his brother violin. Rocky grabs a violin already. Virtuoso. Gets it right away. starts playing violin, and then says, "You know what? I want to play guitar." So he gets a guitar. He becomes he joins a bunch of bands, and this is what we didn't get into last time. But I want to talk about growing up in Norway and being in the bands that you were there. But then he goes to L.A. Figures he'll be right in the midst of the Hollywood scene. Moves to your part of town, Hannah, Redondo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
And he found his way to Hollywood's as much as he could.
With very expensive
Without a car.
taxis.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out the woman that he was living with, I guess you were renting a room at her house or something like that, older lady,
Yeah.
knew some people, had some connections, and now you're signed. You signed with and I want to get this right because I don't want to mess it up. It's Allied Artists.
Allied Artist Music Group. Yeah.
Allied Artists. These people work with, they've worked with everybody: Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, all the rock greats, and they really saw something in Rocky. They developed him for a lot of years, built up to last year when the Firestorm album came out. And as we were leaving you, the album was just about to come out. The video for Rockstar was just about to be released. And you were going to go on Europe touring with Buckcherry.
Yes. Correct.
And how was that?
It was a lot of fun. That was our first tour. And we went to the UK. We played 7 shows in 10 days. And we had a great crowd every night.
Yeah.
It was a great. The Buckcherry fans they're great. They not only do they love Buckcherry, but they're actually very open to the opening acts. And there was us and another band called The Treatment, which is a UK band.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very good to us every night. And we were playing. I would say we had a good show every night, even though we had a lot of issues and so on, because you're going to another country and we were bringing all kinds of stuff, and not all of it worked because we had some bad power converters and so on. So, but we know what we made some noise. I think we had a good time.
That's great. I can only imagine the pressure going in front of a Buckcherry crowd.
Yeah,
I mean, your sound's a little different.
It's
we're
not the same.
Less sleazy,
Yeah.
if I could say.
What's that?
It's a slightly less sleazy. Let's put it that way.
Yes, it's so our music, or my music, is progressive rock or progressive metal, if you want, and their music is definitely, I mean, they sing about cocaine and it's very rock and roll, and we're maybe a little bit more on the serious side, but the audience were fine with it, I think. Yeah,
that's good. Could you see like audience members that had no idea who you were towards the set, really digging what you were doing, and just like shrugging at the beginning, but at the end really digging it?
Yeah, I was getting a lot of compliments. A lot of them were comparing me to Yngwie Malmsteen, which is definitely one of my heroes. But to them, they were like, "Man, you sound like Yngwie Malmsteen," or they said it in a British accent, which I won't try to attempt. But,
do you like that or don't you?
I think if you're inspired by someone, I think it's perfectly fine to be compared to them. I'd rather be compared to Yngwie Malmsteen than somebody else. So I think that's great.
I mean it as a compliment, but I know, like, sometimes you're like, well,
if you
got my own thing, I got another thing going on, but they mean it the right way. Right.
If you're gonna compare us in terms of personality, then I think we're a little different. But because he's known to have a fuse, if you know what I mean. So I think, but musically, I think we get along.
I didn't interrupt. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just saying that in terms of musically, we're Yngwie and I have a lot in common. We both come from a classical background, and we both enjoy classical music. and incorporating that with metal. So now, obviously, I enjoy it partially because of what he was doing. He was more of an innovator, and one of the early ones to do it. But hey, we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and if people don't know your music, I don't want them to misunderstand. You are a virtuoso. You are classically trained, but your stuff is very song oriented. I mean, they're real songs. It's not just noodling.
Right. It's very easy when you're playing fast guitar that or shredding that you end up forgetting about melodies and meaning. So I wanted it to be both. I mean, I don't always play fast. That's not my goal. I'm not trying to break the world record of fastest notes played, but I do like to challenge myself with music and with the guitar, and sometimes it may be fast, but it's also something that's not just rambling on, like which was going on a lot probably in the 80s. A lot of shredding without meaning. I don't know.
Yeah, in a way, it makes sense that you would open for Buckcherry because they're kind of throwback to the Guns N' Roses late 1980s, but your music is a throwback to the early 1980s.
Yeah, right.
The Kiss, Van Halen, but the bands that were inspired by them, the Motley Crue, basically the good songs, the fun party songs that had good music in it, that had really good musicians in it.
Yeah, I think that the good thing about the 70s and 80s, or at least early 80s, was there's a lot of really talented musicians. You had even like the 60s, you had Jimi Hendrix, and you had Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads. I think they were all just creating that foundation that led to what we had in the 80s.
Right.
Well, I didn't have it because I wasn't even born, but I think the 80s was definitely influenced heavily by what was going on in the 70s with Led Zeppelin, and I think Kiss had a major role too, because Motley Crue wouldn't have existed without Kiss.
Sure.
So,
and and that stuff is just it's in style, it's out of style, it's in style, it's out of style. Now it's back in style.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, I think that's good. That's good for me. I definitely want to. I think the 80s was the highlight of at least rock music. I think it was a good time. The production was good. They were starting with MTV and music videos, so it was the glam rock, and things were really good. And then it all went to hell with in the 90s with grunge and all that stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Hannah?
Totally.
Happy to hear that.
It's
nice to finally meet you, though, Hannah, even though it's over.
I'm sorry, Rocky.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Even though it's Zoom.
Even though I'm looking at a picture and it's we're not in person, but maybe next time.
Yes, next time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys talk metal. I'll just sit here. I don't care.
Like, who was your influences through metal?
If you want to specifically talk metal,
yeah,
one of the first bands I ever listened, metal bands, was Iron Maiden, and I'm not gonna say it was my biggest influence, but I definitely did listen to it a lot. Big ones were definitely Metallica, Megadeth, Dream Theater, but I've listened to a lot over the years, and trying to think of the ones that a lot of German stuff, Halloween, Rammstein.
Yeah.
If you like listening to German German lyrics, which I think Rammstein is really, I think they're great. I think they're awesome.
I do.
Yeah. They're supposed to play in my hometown, and because of the coronavirus, it's not looking so good, but they'll figure it out. They'll do it probably next year or something.
Hopefully, because I had my ticket ready for them to come to LA.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that we can't go to concerts anymore. It's kind of sad. But
I look back at all my stories. I'm like, oh.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
got all these photos of, oh, look
Hmm.
at that, I was at that show. Yeah, that's right. Can't do that now.
Find ticket stubs randomly. I found one in my car from Guar yesterday, and I was like, oh, good times.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably gonna be a while, but it'll be
How
fun to be able to go to shows again.
yeah, how's it affecting you with not being able to play?
Well, I wanted to, I guess, make lemonade out of lemons, and I think I said that in the wrong order. But I wanted to uh, find a different way, which is not. It's not. I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I wanted to turn to streaming. So I've been doing Twitch, and for those of you watching, you can see me at twitch.com, twitch.tv/Rocky Kramer.
Mhm.
And it's different for me because when we were on tour, we were playing the same show every night, and we didn't really change anything because we have a set list, and that's the one we're doing every night. When you're streaming, you're in some cases streaming to some of the same people, and so you can't really do the same show. So you have to. So I'm doing a lot of cover songs, and I'm doing maybe songs that I never would have done otherwise. I'm just trying to have more fun with it, and people can suggest songs. So if they're suggesting something that I don't know, I won't do it. But if they're suggesting something that I maybe I know it, then let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But hey, I tried.
Yes.
But it's fun.
I'll have to check out Twitch. I don't have that, but I'll download it.
It's kind of, if you like, so a lot of Twitch started out with only video games for the most part, and it's kind of become, because it's so popular, it was so popular with video games, people started even just there's a category called just chatting, and it's just people talking, which you could just do like we're doing right now on Twitch, and a lot of people watch that. But there's also music, and I think that being able to perform for essentially anybody at any time from your home is wonderful, and you're reaching out to different people, and right now, since everyone's at home, it's nice to uh, play for people that probably wouldn't have known about you otherwise. So it is developing fans, it's slowly but steady.
Very nice. That's awesome.
You haven't done TikTok yet?
I've created an account, but TikTok is, to me, my impression of TikTok is that whenever people talk about it, they're like, "Have you seen the new TikTok dance or that video of somebody falling down the stairs in a funny way?" And that's not what I'm doing. Maybe I should try just posting me playing guitar, and maybe I would get a bunch of followers from it. That might be the case. I haven't tried it yet, but I do
I
have
think
an
you
account.
should. Yeah, I think you should do the guitar thing. It'd be a nice breath of fresh air from people falling down the stairs.
True. Yeah, you do get tired of looking at that after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. So tell us about Norway.
Well, maybe you could fall down the stairs
Yeah.
playing your guitar.
Playing the guitar, falling down the stairs. Yeah, yeah. Why not? Just do a stunt, get a fake guitar or something. Get a stunt man.
There you go.
Could be fun. Tell about Norway. There's so much to say, and I grew up there, and I grew up in a town called Trondheim, which is the third largest city, which is still only about 150,000, even though now it's about 200,000. So it's grown since I was growing up. It's definitely a country with seasons, which we're not used to here that much because it's pretty much the same weather here all year. Sorta. There's no snow here. You can get snow though. The good thing about California, you can actually get any type of climate if you just go for maybe 2 hours or so.
That's true.
Norway is there's a lot of mountains, and it's very. I think there's a lot of appreciation for music and just any type of art. There's a lot of support like we had a lot of support just for doing music. We would actually just get money to make demos and to buy instruments and things like that. And I just yeah, it's a very good place to live, actually, if you can put up with the cold. It's usually considered one of the happiest countries in the world.
What is something you miss from Norway that you can't get here? Or you can experience here?
I think that I probably don't miss the snow, but if we want to talk about food, my favorite pizza place, believe it or not, is in Norway. Yes, it's the best pizza. I think anything that has to do with bread or like pastries. If you go to a bakery there, it's just all the foods, everything in there would be delicious.
All the good stuff, the
it's
carbs.
all the good stuff. You can get that here. You can get good stuff here if you go to a good bakery, but it's just there's certain recipes and certain types of things that you just can't get here. So you have to find different things here that are good, but not the same.
Is there something specific that that Norwegians put on their pizza that we don't?
Well, there's a particular place. It's called Pepe's, and it's a chain. So you can actually, wherever you are, you can find one. Whatever city you're in, you can find one. They actually have one at the airport in Oslo, even. So what's different about it? I would say there are some spices in there that really taste good. It's almost, I wouldn't say it's hot, but it's just the right amount of flavor. Sometimes here it's just kind of bland, and they use like good cheese. You have to use really good cheese, and you have to use just everything has to be good quality. I think it's just here it's easier for foods to be, I guess, like FDA approved, or that may not be the right term, but it's easier. Like it's more regulation maybe in Norway, so like the quality of everything is just slightly higher, just in general. So just everything pretty much all food is just better. Like even like McDonald's is actually better.
Whatever.
If that's a place you enjoy eating.
Yeah, that's just that's all Pepe's.
Yeah, so that's
Pepe ended up in Norway. I don't know how, but I was going to ask. Now, obviously, you're from Europe. Your band, had they been to Europe before?
They have. So my whole band is American.
Yeah.
And they have, I think they've actually all been on tour in Europe with other bands, maybe except, I'm not 100% sure about Matt, the keyboardist. I think he I think he had been to Europe, but not to play. But the other guys had actually been there to be on tour. So they were quite familiar with the area. And they like it. I think we all like Europe. I think we all had a good time there.
Well, I'm sure. And I have to ask before we get off this, any weird, wild stories, shenanigans happened with the Buckcherry tour with girls and things like that? Any backstage stuff, either with you or with them or anything like that?
I was waiting for that, Mark.
Yeah, I figured you would ask something like that.
You guys were bonding, and then we were talking about pizza. What do you want me to do? Yeah.
Pizza may not be the most fun, but you can say we made some friends, if you know what I mean, and we had a good time.
That's unless you want to say more, that's all you need to say.
I want to try to keep it family friendly, and but touring is definitely it's a lot of work. So a lot of it is you're on a tour bus and you're traveling somewhere. So a lot of it is just us sleeping and getting rest.
And the Buckcherry guys, they're cool?
They were very nice to us. We didn't really expect anything from them, and they treated us very kindly. And we made a few mistakes. We left a mic stand, or we accidentally swapped some drum, kick pedal drums, kick drum pedals, and they were bringing them back to us, and they never bothered us with anything. They were very nice. The guys are very nice, and their crew was very nice.
That's cool, yeah, because I know, even though it's a minor thing, I know some people would flip out on that. It sounds like they're real nice.
Yes, some people can be very difficult with their opening acts. So we were treated very, very nicely.
And Now the album came out in August.
Yes.
I was promised to be invited to the release party, and for some reason I never was. But
You?
I'll
Oh
forgive you
no!
on that. That's not
For
your
real?
that's your management. That's not you. But
Oh no!
how was the release party?
It was a lot of fun. If you if you didn't go, man, I feel bad.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Um,
The second album, I'll go to the
if
release
you want
party.
to, well, I have to now write down a note to make sure that you're definitely invited to the next one. But if you want to get a taste of it, there is actually a video on YouTube called the Firestorm Release Party. If you want to get an idea of what was going on, we had a good time. We played some songs off the album. We had Prescott Niles on bass doing. We did I called it the Release Party Blues. We had Mike Panera there play, or we played some songs and did a little jamming. But we had a good time. We had a lot of people there. It was a success. My dad actually flew in for it from Norway, so he actually sat on a plane for 10 hours just to be there. So I appreciate that.
Right.
We had a good
And
time.
I've got to let you know that Rocky's been backed by a really, and this is part of the backstory, is that he ended up meeting Kim Richards,
Mhm.
who's the one that's been responsible for booking him on this show, which I really appreciate. But this guy worked on Pink Floyd The Wall. He's worked with Steely Dan. He's worked with everybody. I read today he was one of the people that, because he's involved with the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, he was one of the people in the 80s that's responsible for CD being the biggest, being pushed as as the biggest form of music.
That's correct, and that's
These are the people that are handling Rocky Kramer, managing his career.
That's exciting.
yeah.
And Rocky Kramer is such a big Pink Floyd fan that I'm sure that that's not lost on him.
Oh, it's very cool. I mean, there's I guess it's a diamond album, which I think it's 24 million albums sold for The Wall. It's hanging
Wow.
somewhere around here, and yeah, it's I mean that
It's not
album
like some.
is amazing.
It's not like somebody who's just starting out or somebody who's been doing it but never really succeeded. This guy has a track record of success, and he's a major player. And he saw Rocky Kramer 7-8 years ago and said, I want to manage you, and I want to make you a big star.
Yeah, and he like he says himself, he wasn't really looking to work with a new artist. So I guess whatever it was, I was someone that he thought was worth working with.
Well, don't be modest. What do you think it was, really?
I think that when we first started talking, we were talking about, I was talking about my influences, which were obviously, Pink Floyd and Queen and so on. And then he basically thought that I had read his bio, and that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. That was really my influences. And when I played him my music, you realized that the music was definitely, like, he could hear the influence. He realized, like, this is the concept album, and he could totally get into that. And that's when he said he wanted to produce it. I was like, okay, there you go.
Does he work with Queen? And that's another factor why I think this is a great time for your music to break through, because the big Queen comeback. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, not the comeback; they've always been one of the best bands around, but since the movie, it's exploded.
True. Bohemian Rhapsody definitely has helped bringing the Queen name back, even though it was there. I mean, Adam Lambert has definitely helped them. Or I guess they've helped each other in the sense that they just really kept the Queen name alive as a touring act, which is great because they weren't touring for a long time after Freddie died. And I think it's nice to see that they're doing something that's not trying to just do a tribute to Freddie, but they're also doing something new. Adam Lambert is not a copy of Freddie Mercury. He's Adam Lambert.
Right.
There are people that sound like, if you watch the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, the Freddie's parts were actually sung by a guy named Mark Martel. He does his voice sounds just like Freddie, but he's not Freddie in terms of he doesn't perform like Freddie. So they wanted something that was different. But
no, I think Adam Lambert, and I've said this to people, and some people agree, some people don't, but I think he fits that better than, say, Paul Rodgers. I didn't see Paul Rodgers fitting in. Even though Paul Rodgers is great, but it's such a different style.
It is. I think that Paul Rodgers is great at what he does, but what he was doing with Queen, I didn't feel like it fit. And the only one that back then, when they were doing I think it was for the tribute, right after Freddie died, they had George Michael sing a Queen song. I think it was Somebody to Love or something. His voice actually does sound a little bit like Freddie when he sings Queen. So he may have been, he could have been maybe a choice for them, but I think that they made the right choice and waited until they found someone that made more sense. And I think Adam Lambert is a good pick.
Well, I think he's got the showmanship too, and
that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's the showman.
Hannah's being very silent, but that's okay.
I'm just listening.
You a big Queen fan, Hannah?
I'm not a huge Queen fan, but I do highly respect them, and they are fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But speaking of that and your appreciation of George Michael, I came across your re-recording of the first song "Rockstar," which we played on the show last time. Mm-hmm. The video's great. The video's very very 80s kind of thing. But you did a 80s synth pop version of Rockstar.
I did.
Like a Human League like version of Rockstar. But no synths, no guitar.
Yeah, I think that when I listen to my own songs or when I'm writing songs, a lot of times I hear different versions, at least as a possibility, and I really like synths, and I mean I love guitars, but I also love synths, and I love the 80s, and the synths were a big part of the 80s. So it was really something that I put together mainly because I was just messing around with my keyboards, and I just started playing certain things. What really inspired me to do it is if you listen to the verse, what I'm doing on the keyboards during the verse, that's what I want. That's what made me want to do it. And then I just filled in the blanks. It just made sense to do it. It was just a lot of fun, and it just gives you a different version of it that there might be some new fans from it. They may be disappointed when they hear that the rest of the album is metal, but I want to do as many different things as possible to kind of reach a hand out to a lot of different type of people. Because not everybody listens to rock and metal, but they might still enjoy my music. Maybe
they should.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think Hannah wants metal versions of every song.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm working on
every song and make it metal.
I'm working on a metal song. There's a band called Churches, and they are synth pop, basically, and I'm working on a metal version of one of their songs,
cool.
which is going to come out probably in a week or two.
Nice.
I'm editing the video right now, so stay tuned for that.
I'm excited. Something to look forward to.
Yes.
I know I asked you this last time, but I don't think I really got a good answer.
Go for it.
The album, because I was looking at your YouTube page and kind of during the whole process, it took about 6-7 years to get this album out.
Yeah, it took a while, but
you did demos like in what 2014, 13?
Yeah,
15?
I mean, yeah, some of the demos were the first demos I made were actually before I even moved here. So it's been a long ride, but what we really did when I first got signed was dealing with learning how to sing. I took vocal lessons for like extensively for about 2 months. I mean, almost every day for hours, just really learning how to sing, because I really didn't have a vocal technique. And if you don't know how to sing, you're gonna really have a bad time, both in the studio and on tour. Maybe especially on tour, because you're not gonna probably get enough sleep, or you're not gonna get enough rest,
Or you see me at a karaoke night, forget it.
yeah. So we spent actually some time, about 2 years, just working on vocals and getting the band, and we were rehearsing the band, and then it was kind of, we made an album, and we recorded the album, then we mixed the album, and then we wanted to make a music video. And it actually took a while just to have the music video edited, because it has animation and special effects in it. And it actually took, there's a phone ringing. It actually took close to a year to make that video, from start to finish. And it's a lot of work, so when you look at everything, it's like, yeah, there were several years it took several years to make it, but at the end we could just put everything out, and then we kind of put everything out. Like I said, I think during our last interview, that we put out both the album, we put it out on vinyl and CD, we put out the music video, we have like the making of, both making of the album and making of the music video. So there's just a ton of things to look at all at once. So
before this process, you were like looking at like Chinese Democracy, going, "Why does it take so long?" Now you're like, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah. That's Chinese Democracy was definitely kind of a nightmare to make, but
it's just like you times the pressure of 100.
Which in their case, there were so many fans. Guns N' Roses, they had so much success with their first album that people were just always expecting greatness for the next one. And then when the whole, the 90s happened, and they were getting confused. I mean, they started recording that thing in what, 94, 95?
Yeah.
Something like mid 90s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out, I think, 2008 or so. If anybody knows, I don't remember exactly, but it took them a long time. And but I guess it went through a lot of different things. They had some legal issues too, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kidding, but I'm just saying, when you see albums getting delayed and taking a long time, you know what the process is like now.
I do, and it's sometimes it's like that. Just look at Avatar. We're waiting for Avatar still. The sequel, which has been how long? I mean, the first movie came out. I don't even know when it came out anymore. It's been a long
2009.
time.
It was about the same time as Chinese Democracy.
It was like, yeah. So
those were the days.
But I will let you know that I have written a lot of music. So there's definitely going to be a lot of Rocky Kramer albums in the future.
Yeah. Now, when you heard that final master after all these years of work, were you happy with it? Were you like, everybody's a perfectionist. They're probably like, oh, there's one thing that's missing, or were you like, this is good. I'm really proud of it.
Well, the album was mastered by Bernie Grunman, who mastered Michael Jackson Thriller and Purple Rain and just, I mean, hundreds of really, really famous albums. I actually have a copy of the vinyl right here.
Yeah.
And it actually says mastered by Bernie Grunman, because that actually means something to people that collect vinyl. And it was a good feeling to have it mastered, because
Michael Jackson, Prince, that's pretty good company to keep.
And I actually got to both Kim and I, we were there when he was doing it. There's actually a video about that on my YouTube channel. And so we actually got to meet him, and it turns out he's like half Norwegian, or maybe I think he's a quarter Norwegian. So he's actually been to Norway, and he's been to he hasn't been to where I grew up, but he's been to other cities that are in Norway. So he actually knows Norway pretty well. So I was very it was a very good good day. Actually, it was 2 days. We did 2 days. We did one day for the CD version and one day for the vinyl.
Yeah, small world. Now, is the vinyl selling really well?
It's doing all right. Yeah.
I was going to say, what's been the reaction to the album? I'm thinking, and I don't know why, but I'm thinking it's probably done better in Europe than the United States, but I don't know. And probably in Mexico,
Right.
South America too, right?
I think, well, for vinyl is kind of, if people buy something physically, they
Right.
like to buy the vinyl. So, and I think there is, I think you're right about Europe. I think Europe is more into the vinyl than here. But there are people that are into vinyl here.
Well,
But I think the
Europe
majority
and
is
South
streaming.
America
Mm-hmm.
are much more metal than the United States. Especially.
Oh, yeah, they have definitely have better
Absolutely.
taste.
Yeah, and I love how passionate they are. When you look at concerts like they do the Monsters of Rock and other big metal festivals, those fans over there they really love music, and they love being in, like, seeing an artist perform. And you don't see as much of that here in the U.S. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but it's nothing compared to those crowds. But they're so passionate. I mean, when you look at soccer stadiums, they're very passionate people, and it's fun to watch. Because if you play a concert in like Finland or something, your audience is not necessarily going to be as crazy, maybe, but they love the music, but they don't necessarily show it as much.
Yeah, but I'm not saying there's not metal fans here in the United States. Hannah can attest to that. But I see like all these bands, and they really make their money overseas and in Europe and South America,
Yeah.
especially. They just love that metal, and always have, and never have gone away from it.
But when I go to metal shows here in the U.S., at least half of the people, because we all talk, make friends, they're not American. Only half are American.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will even travel around the world to see their favorite bands.
Yeah, there's a couple guys I met. They were following Slayer on their last tour, just around from like Oakland down to Texas. Yeah.
And where were they from?
Mexico.
Oh, okay. And I don't know what they're doing now, but
I don't know. Who knows what anybody's doing right now?
Rocky Kramer around.
Yeah. What can you do?
So you toured with Buckcherry in Europe. Did you do any touring here in the United States?
We played Sturgis.
Cool.
Sturgis, the motorcycle rally?
The motorcycle rally, yes. We played.
What was that?
Yeah.
That is a crazy thing. I'm sure they won't have Sturgis this year, but it was, we were playing like in the middle of the whole craziness. I mean, that place, which is interesting because it's a very small town normally.
Yeah.
I think they said it's like 500,000, or maybe it's even 1 million people that come in with motorcycles. It's very unique. Everybody's drinking, having a good time, and we were playing. We're playing like 3 hours. We played the whole album and a bunch of covers. We're doing like Billy Idol and
Nice.
Led Zeppelin. We played.
Why were you playing so well? Didn't they have any other bands? Was that you?
There were other bands. Yeah, we were one of the bands playing.
Okay.
So
they were always, bikers like you? Are they big Rocky Kramer fans?
We actually we made some fans for sure, definitely.
Which was more wild, Sturgis or Buckcherry?
So the difference is at Sturgis, people were there to drink and talk about motorcycles and party. At Buckcherry, they're there to see live music. So I think that, and also I just think that the UK crowds they were just more open to us being a band they never heard of. for the most part. They were just like some of there were some of the Buckcherry fans again that were actually following them. They went to almost every show, and we became friends with them because they were very nice. And we had a lot of people coming up to us and saying that it was really great, and they would buy CDs and other things that we had for sale. So we didn't bring the vinyls, I don't think, which was probably a smart thing. But we did sell some CDs.
So basically, Sturgis is wilder because it's not just about the music; it's about the party, and there's a lot.
Sturgis is a big party. Yeah, definitely.
Do you ride a motorcycle?
Do I? I have a picture of me on a motorcycle, but that's about it. I feel like they can be dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, very dangerous.
I like being in a car that will protect me in case of a car accident.
That's smart.
Now,
I'm very rational.
That's weird in the rock and metal scene. You're a solo artist. It's not a band. It's Rocky Kramer. I mean, it's the Rocky Kramer band, but it's your name on it. And I was wondering what did you have offers to join bands? Have you have you been in any bands in LA, or you just met Kim and it's all you're the star?
I guess that there's been offers for that, but to me is that because I'm a songwriter, it's important that I focus on my own music, and because I have a recording contract, I don't really need to look for other bands because it would just be maybe a distraction. But if I were offered to be a bass player in Whitesnake or something, I would do it just for the hell of it. But I think that a lot of it has to do with just finding people you want to work with, and sometimes it's like everybody they all have their agenda and they have the music they want to play, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out. It's easier for me to just say, okay, this is my music, this is what we're going to play, and that's the way it's going to be. There's no democracy.
Yeah, right? Why not? But I mean, I'm a comedian. I don't even have backup musicians, so I can hear you on that. But you were in bands when you were a teenager in Norway.
Yeah.
What was that like?
To be honest with you, when you're a teenager and you're starting your first bands and you're playing your first shows, it's maybe the best, even though it's probably the worst you ever sound. It's maybe the most fun because you're not doing it. Because now it's like everything is kind of, I'm trying to perfect it because we're doing it professionally. If I do it wrong, then I have to try to work on how to fix it. Back then, it's like, we were doing all kinds of weird stuff, and we just had so much fun with it, and it was new, and it's when you're a teenager, you're doing a lot of things for the first time, and that's really cool, because by the time you're an adult, you're so used to it that you're trying to think of ways to change it up, and you're trying to. With music, maybe it's working with different people, maybe it's working with different, or playing different types of music. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Like one of the first bands I played in, we were called Armed Science, and we wore makeup like Kiss does, and not exactly like Kiss. We had our own version of it. We're like a teenage Kiss, and the music was kind of like Kiss, kind of glam rock. And we had a lot of fun with that. Like we were playing talent shows, and we were like one of the finalists in like a local show, and we were all excited about it. And we played like the regional one, and that was like our only type of tour that we ever had was that one show we played in like another part of the town. But that was our first experiences of doing that, and it was fun. It was really fun for us.
And your father is playing in the symphony orchestra. Is he looking at you in rock bands going, good stuff?
I think that originally you got to keep in mind, he didn't want me to play guitar. He wanted me to play violin. And
Right.
when I was first performing with bands, he kind of didn't really, he kind of didn't want me to do it. And it wasn't until, I think, when I was 16 was the first time he actually went to a show. And it was actually not a great show. And I was thinking, he must have thought I was terrible. But that was it was a weird time.
But he eventually saw the joy that it brought to you.
But, as things were moving forward and the moment you get attention by a record company in the United States, that's a big thing for, someone who's grown up in a small country. And not that he's not used to the world. I mean, he's traveled around the world with the symphony
Sure.
orchestra. Like he's played in China. He's been to Spain and he hasn't played in the U.S., but he has been to the U.S. But to him, it's a proud moment to see his son doing something that
Sure, and something musical. I mean, you're not playing backyard parties and cake parties anymore. You've got some serious people backing you, and you're putting out a record and you're touring.
Yeah,
You better be proud that you're making your own way.
Yeah, I mean, he's not complaining. He's happy with it. And like I said, he was here for the release party, so
It's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
One quick question for Hannah.
Yes.
Your bass player Michael Dwyer, is he single?
Oh, come on.
He's the guy with the beard. I remember I saw your picture of the
He's the guy with the
band, and you're
beard.
like, they're all cute, but that guy in particular.
So he's. Are you asking if he's single?
Is he single?
He's not single.
Okay.
But if you want to talk about bikers, he is a biker.
Oh, no, I know. That's why Hannah was digging him.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, the long hair with the beard combination seems to be a good one, right, Hannah?
I don't know.
No comment.
No comment.
He's a very nice. He's a very nice person too.
I didn't want to embarrass Hannah, and it's not to say that you're not a dreamboat yourself, Rocky. But
thank you.
I'm just saying, I
Appreciate that.
showed her a picture of the whole band. She's like, "Ooh, who's that guy?" I'm like, I don't know.
I like it. I think. Yeah. I mean, you would like him. Maybe we'll have the whole band on the show sometime.
Yeah, let's, one of these days. Yeah, I mean, obviously the band is top quality because they, you recruited them yourself, and you got the allied artists, backing you up, and they know the best people. Now this is what's happened. Now your record's out, you're touring, you're playing Sturgis, you're playing Europe. Then the coronavirus hits.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Definitely.
You're like you're just getting ready to peak. Was there something that you were planning in the spring that had to fall by the wayside?
Yeah, definitely. Everything. We were planning a tour, which was with some big names that I don't want to mention, but names that you've heard of.
Wow.
A summer tour. We were also planning, and we're still talking about doing the next single, which is going to be Alcohol. We're still talking about how we're going to do it. We're because we were going to film a music video for it, and that's what we were planning. Just before, literally just before this happened, we were having meetings with directors and producers to make the music video. We have a script for it. We have all kinds of ideas, but we can't film it. So we're just figuring out how to deal with that right now.
Yeah, it's being relaxed now. I think, hopefully the worst is over. I know that San Diego, Vegas, some other markets are having live performances, but, realistically, probably you won't be able to tour until probably 2021. But you keep putting out great videos on YouTube, and on Twitch. So you're still putting out great content, but it's kind of a bummer, though.
Yeah, you can only watch me at home right now, so that's the way it's going to be.
It's better than nothing, though. Yeah.
It is, well, I think it is better than nothing, and what it is that it's instead of doing nothing, which I think some people are, or maybe they're not doing nothing, but they're at least not showing anything, because some people are writing right now. I think
Yeah,
it's
a
not.
lot.
I think it's nice to do something that I can share because I can't do it any other way. I can't play a show. It's nice to be make covers and put them on YouTube or play live on Twitch, because that's something that is you're getting right now. It's not just me planning for the future. It's me doing something you can see right now and you can enjoy right now. I think that makes a lot of sense.
A
It
lot of
does.
people are sleeping. A lot of people are masturbating. A lot of people watching TV. A lot of people doing stuff
Right.
that is not constructive, and you are doing constructive things, and you're keeping the Rocky Kramer brand alive. And I think the album's great. And I will play Alcohol when this is broadcast on Renegade Radio and Steel Waves Radio at the end of the show, so people have a taste of that. But it's on all of all the Spotify and all the Pandora and all the right now I've got Amazon Music, but it's on all of them. So definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of metal, you're a fan of 80s rock, and you're a fan of good guitar playing, fun songs. Just, I mean, I heard the album. It's like, it's like a greatest hits album. It's like Rock of Ages. It's just fun.
It's an album that it's a concept album, so it's not like when you're listening to maybe one or two tracks from this and one or two tracks from that. It's more like an album that you want to listen to from start to finish. So if you have an hour,
no, I like that. I did listen to it.
That's when you should listen to it.
You did take you on a journey. Is the second album going to be a concept album, or you don't know yet?
It is. It's a little different than this one, but it is going to be a concept album, and I've already shared the music with the band and with Kim, so we're kind of slowly preparing for it in case we can't tour for a while, and then we can probably go in the studio instead, hopefully.
I mean, just
Go ahead, Pam. I'm sorry.
being like a music fan personally, there's three things that I look forward to, and just tuning into my friends on like Friday night doing like an Instagram live playing guitar, and it's awesome, which just keeps people happy.
Yeah, I think music has a healing effect on people, and just entertainment is important during times like these. So I want to be at least one of your options. You don't have to pick me every time, but I think that if you enjoy 80s music or progressive rock, I think you might have a good time.
Yeah.
Or any music, just give it a shot. See, you might like it.
Yeah.
And also check out on YouTube. I also checked out your tribute to David Gilmour, the Comfortably Numb, which I thought was great.
Ah, yes. That was actually mastered at Abbey Road. So there's a little bit of history there. That was a fun one to make. That was the first cover that I made, which if you look at when it was posted, it was actually before the coronavirus was locking everybody inside their homes. Because I figured it was, back then I just wanted to do covers to do something while I wasn't touring. But then now it's more about doing it because I'm not, I won't be touring for a while. I won't be another album.
Lyrically, it's eerily, relevant right now.
It's, yeah. And I think that, in this day and age, people are kind of ADD, so you want to kind of always throw something at them to keep their attention.
Yeah.
They're easily distracted.
And,
They are.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Hannah.
Oh, yeah, they are easily distracted. And before we go, I just have to compliment you on your backdrop. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Anyway, yeah. We better let you go. Where's the time go? It's been a quick hour. It's always fun hanging out with you, Rocky.
Yeah,
let everybody know what you're doing, how to get your Twitch, how to get your YouTube, how to get your album, and everything you got going on. And hopefully we'll see you on tour very, very soon.
Yeah. The easiest thing the easiest way to find my social media links is to go to rockykramer.com, and that's ROCKYKRAMER.com. And Twitch is just twitch.tv/RockyKramer. And I stream, right now I'm streaming every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. So that's something for people to look out for.
Yeah, just
And
I might
I
check
do-
it out. I just added Twitch on my Roku, so I might check it out this week.
There you go.
Great.
Awesome.
And hopefully, fall, winter. Hopefully, you'll be doing a local LA gig. I'll take Hannah over there, and she can see the magic that is Rocky Kramer.
Yeah, I would love to do a show. There might be we might figure out something, maybe like a drive-in concert or something like that. People in their cars or an outdoor show. Which,
like that. Yeah, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. We could all be like 6 feet apart.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility.
Well, that's something to look forward to. Rocky, you're a great guy. I wish you nothing but the best of success, and hopefully I can see you live very, very soon.
I hope so.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark.
And
Thank you, Hannah.
follow
Thank you.
Hannah. Hail Hannah 666. Hail Hannah Box 666 on Instagram. We have a page on TeePublic where you can get Dark Mark Show merchandise and Hannah Box merchandise. You can get a Hannah mask. You can get a Dark Mark mask. And on Goth Comedian on social media. And once again, RockyKramer.com. Everybody, have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.
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 Thanks, Rocky. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I told you, he's a cool guy.
Say what?
I said, Hannah, I told you, he's a great guy. I think Hannah's off now, but thanks, Rocky.
Thank you,
I'll
Mark.
tag it. We're going to have it on the radio tomorrow, and I'll tag you every time we post there something. It's going to be on
Okay.
YouTube next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks a lot, man.
Okay, take care.